Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I want to talk a little bit about the telephonic hearing that happened yesterday because, there are a number of things to talk about this, frankly. The judge has lost patience with the SEC, it seems. And at this point, I'm assuming that the vast majority of are aware that the SEC has been claiming privilege and all these documents that the court, meaning the judge, has ordered be sent to Ripple. The SEC's been claiming, oh no, we're gonna claim privilege over this. There's too much information that would be outside the scope of what's supposed to be delivered to Ripple. Like pretty much 100% of it, mind you, which seems a little suspicious, don't you think? And so no, I'm sorry, but we just can't hand this over to Ripple. The judge ain't having it. The judge will personally review the documents that the SEC is intentionally hiding. That's the way that I'd characterize it. It looks to me like they're intentionally hiding stuff that probably wouldn't be so hot for them. And so I want to talk about that. Now, the bulk of this video, actually, I'm going to share with you opinion from attorney John Deaton, who took to Twitter to share some thoughts after this hearing, interesting perspectives. Also, I'm going to mention a little bit about what attorney Jeremy Hogan had to say. He's, of course, the attorney who runs the YouTube channel Legal Briefs, because he put out a video where he shared his thoughts, and I happen to have a little cameo on that video as well, along with a few others, including attorney John Deaton, who of course is the attorney seeking to intervene in the SEC versus Ripple case on behalf of about 19,000 XRP holders. Also, my fellow XRP YouTubers, The Bearable Bull, as well as Crypto Eddie, had cameos in this video as well. So I'm assuming a lot of you have already seen it at this point. I think he did a great job, along with his wife, who I understand does the editing. Did just a fantastic job putting that together. I was laughing pretty hard anyway. So I thought I'd share with you a little bit about that. But before going any further, I do want to be clear that I don't have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos all up on the internet, but just as a fun hobby. And so I'm going to link to Jeremy Hogan's video in the details section below. At least I promise to try to remember that. So check that out. If you haven't seen it, check that out after this video or right now. I don't care, whatever you want to do. But I was going to share with you. So I guess I think it was Tuesday of last week when attorney Jeremy Hogan contacted me via Twitter to see if I'd be interested in doing something like this. He let me know he's putting together a fun little skit like this, and I'd seen him do stuff like that in the past, so I was like, absolutely, all on board here. And actually, that very evening, we were able to get together. He and his wife put together a very short script, and I read it the one time, and I was just laughing. I was like, oh yeah, this is pure gold here. I read the first line, which is, for my line, it just says, hold on a sec, this asshat Hogan is about to Zoom me for a stupid interview. And then it's at that point that he hops on the call, like, as I'm saying that. I don't know, it's pretty funny, though. And then one thing, also, I ended up, I didn't even realize I was doing it at first, but, like, I was reading the script, and there's a part where, like, in parentheses, it says, make static noises, because I'm, like, making an excuse to get off the call with Hogan within the script. And so it just says in parentheses, make static noises. So I was, like, reading through it, and then I went... And then I realized, like, after a moment, I was like, I'm sitting here in my bedroom by myself, like, making static noises to myself. And they're not even good static noises. But there we go. So anyway, I encourage you to watch that right now or after this video, whatever you want to do. I will link it below. Anyway, it was a fun intro. It was really just a blast doing that with him, and he had a fantastic video with all sorts of insights. So I'm not going to be spending time rehashing what he put out, except for a couple comments right here off the bat. And so Jeremy Hogan, I found this interesting. He said, it's his personal opinion, that the judge frankly sounded irritated by the SEC at one point, and basically classifying her demeanor, the judge's demeanor, as a bit of, quote, polite upsetness, end quote. And it's easy to understand why. Like, the SEC, it's amazing, like the verbal gymnastics they have to go through to try and, like, trick people into believing that what they're saying makes sense, when clearly any unbiased person with half a brain would realize it simply does not. And I don't think the judge is actually seeing through this, as evidenced at least in part by the change in tone here. It's kind of irritating. And I think the SEC, they're kind of freaking out here, which is why there's this tweet from my fellow XRP YouTuber, the Blockchain Backer. And he wrote, "Judge is going to review all the documents the SEC have held privilege on." And he's got a little laughy emoji, and then he wrote SEC, and it's just got this little gif here of Will Ferrell like running in circles with a panic face, and it just says "Everybody panic," which I thought was a good one there. So Jeremy Hogan believes that, frankly, most of the documents that the SEC is seeking to hide by claiming privilege will ultimately be provided to Ripple and allowed as evidence. These are documents that are expected to show the SEC's own internal perspective on whether or not Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP are or have ever been securities. And so the judge is actually ultimately going to go through all of these documents. She's going to see them. There will be no portions of it redacted whatsoever. And you got to think, if the judge is going through this, and it seems completely unreasonable, like the idea that the vast majority of all these documents, the SEC's claiming, no, this can't go to Ripple. Privilege. We can't get this super secret information out there. Like, it sounds so far out of what the truth would be that I think when the judge goes through this, you would think that the majority, and this is what Hogan said too, like the majority of these documents, more likely than not, are going to make it to Ripple. And this is good. Like the SEC, it seems so obvious, doesn't it? Aren't the optics such that it looks like they're just intentionally trying to hide something? I would say yes, personally here. And so then there was this from attorney John Deaton, and he wrote the following on this. Today's hearing is the first time I can honestly say that I'm disappointed in Judge Netburn's handling of a hearing. But, of course, my disappointment may simply demonstrate why she is and should be a judge and I shouldn't be. I believe she was entirely too patient with the SEC. I can understand why he might be saying that, indeed. And then he said, Attorney Tenrero, that's the SEC attorney, Jorge Tenrero. Attorney Tenrero spent a considerable amount of time arguing that the documents are not relevant. Judge Netburn has ruled twice that the documents are relevant. So pause right there. Think about this. If you're the judge, you know that the SEC right there is arguing with your decision, running the damn court. How do you think that comes off? Do you think this is good for the SEC or bad? But they feel like, Jorge, you gotta, like, he has to feel backed in a corner. Like, there's so many piss poor arguments, and some of them I'm going to break apart in another video upcoming, but it'd just be too long for this video and a little bit outside the scope. It's a slightly different topic. But my gosh, the level of hypocrisy is frankly astounding. Truly impressive. And then John Deaton writes the following. He can argue the deliberative privilege applies to the documents, but he kept arguing the documents are irrelevant. And so Judge Netburn is exceptionally patient, and that's probably one of the reasons that she's such a good judge, right? And some of the judges that I've appeared before would have cut me down at the knees if I kept arguing something wasn't relevant after the judge ruled that it was. Notice also that the SEC intentionally didn't answer the judge's question on whether the recklessness standard is objective or subjective. And by the way, so I'll pause here. This is a major point that attorney Jeremy Hogan brought up too in his video. But John writes, yesterday I tweeted that the standard is objective and it doesn't matter what Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson was told. But attorney Tenrero didn't directly answer the question and focused only on the fact that Garlinghouse and others wouldn't be privy to internal SEC memos. But with aiding and abetting, the SEC must prove that Garlinghouse's belief was reckless. And by the way, I'll mention this is also ultimately in a long after I don't even know how long it was, but speaking like he's basically speaking in a way that's like, you know, his brain, it had to have been like something was turning there, but he wasn't sure how to answer the question, because the truth was that the answer is all of this was objective, just like Ripple's attorney Matt Solomon said. Like, that was the actual answer. And so he just started talking, and then eventually, after a long-winded response, ended up admitting that's the case, as if it would somehow make the blow of reality less impactful on the judge. Like, is that what was going through his mind? You gotta kind of wonder. But the truth is the truth here. And so John continues now. As Judge Netburn correctly stated, the recklessness standard requires a determination of, quote, whether what Bragg Garlinghouse thought was objectively reasonable, end quote. And if market participants, including the SEC, didn't believe XRP was a security, it can't be reckless. And finally, the SEC informed the judge that the SEC welcomed an in-camera review of the documents, but then argued for about 10 minutes why she shouldn't do it, and that by her doing so seemed to give these defendants preferential treatment. It doesn't sound like it was welcomed. Yeah, no kidding. It's like... And this isn't the first time you've seen this from Tenrero here, but just speaking out both sides of his mouth. Whatever suits him in the moment, that's what he's going to argue. And it's like there's so many lies out there and poor arguments that he clearly can't keep track of them all, but really who could? It's much easier if you're just speaking truth to not fall into these little traps here. And so, by the way, what they're talking about here when they say in-camera review, I wasn't familiar with that either. Apparently, it's common if you have a law background, you know what this means. But in-camera just means in private. That's all it means. So basically, it just means that the judge is going to be reviewing the documents in private. And then if Judge Knepper thinks that, okay, this isn't something that deserves to be protected due to privilege, then it's going straight to Ripple. And then John Deaton writes, the judge did seem a bit taken back by the comment and reminded the SEC that an in-camera review of relevant documents claimed to be privileged is a routine practice by the court. Bottom line, it's safe to assume some of these documents damage the SEC's chances for success. Yeah, I firmly agree with that. Like, not even having a legal background and not being reassured of that by John Deaton and other attorneys within the community, that's where my brain would go. Why would humans do this? It seems completely unreasonable to apply this privilege standard to just about every document under the sun. There's no way that could be the truth, right? There's no freaking way. And so that's where we're at right now. So anyway, this is attorney Jeremy Hogan's page. I'm assuming the majority of you listening right now are already subscribers, but if not, maybe you're just new to this space. I encourage you to subscribe. The channel is here. It is Legal Briefs. And here, this video that I'm circling, this is the one that I'm going to try to remember to actually put in the details section of my video below. But the thumbnail rather reads SEC versus Ripple hearing. V is for victory. So again, go ahead and check it out. He's got a really funny intro he put together with yours truly being a part of it. And also, it's just a fantastic video. Anyway, and I always look forward to Jeremy Hogan's insights when it comes to the SEC versus Ripple case. So there we are. But I'll go ahead and wrap up here. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.